Today we're taking the Nikon Zf around Tokyo for some street photography. Let's go! We're outdoors, obviously, and with a lot of natural light, blue skies today. And my screen is extremely bright, so that means I gotta lower the ISO. And I like having a nice high shutter speed. Well, it's a little bit darker now. But get a nice picture of the temple, the tree in front of it. Oh, this looks nice. There we go. I've got an idea. I'm gonna get closer to one of these close subjects, and I'm gonna take a few pictures, like of perspective, basically. I'm trying very hard to not talk out of my, the Nikon's. It's got a really good focus, so I touch autofocus. So as I touch the screen, this is a very tight lens, or a very fast lens rather. So I'm able to get one of these fence posts in focus in the temple. It's not in focus, right? Right. Well, lower the ISO down a bunch. Back to focus. There we go. Right up. Two shots. Perspective there. So I'm noticing it's a little bit overblown. And the Nikon Zf allows me to change things on the fly. I had a Nikon in the past that I bought when I first moved here. It was a D3200 DSLR. And if I wanted to change a lot of the stuff on there, I had to go through all the menus and everything. The benefit of a camera like this is in manual mode. Your ISO's up here, your shutter speed's here. You can get your aperture here. And everything works on the fly. Makes life a lot easier for photographers, that's for sure. Well, it's not the easiest to hold camera because, it's a retro styled camera, but because of the retro styling, it's got that functionality of manual control. And honestly, this is a very fun camera to use. It's very functional. It's quick to change all the settings depending on variable light, right? So overall, I like this camera quite a lot. So right here, a little bit lower light. Because of that, the upper part of the image is really blown out, but the lower part's really dark. And as such, you gotta adjust for that. You have to make sure that your shutter speed is a proper setting. So, okay, I decreased ISO, I got the shutter speed at 1000 still, ISO's at 125. And now the resulting image shows that you can see the top of that video monitor over there, whereas before you couldn't, so it was way too bright otherwise. That makes sense then. It's not, I wouldn't say it's dark enough to get one of the motion blur shots, but I'll try here. Really got to lower the ISO down. Did I get it? Just taking the sweet time. So it's kind of dark over here, but now you can see it's lighter here. It's going to make for some interesting shots, so I have to adjust the settings accordingly. And that's too dark. That's better. Let's take some. I like the shadow coming off this tree here. Looks really cool. I'm gonna try to capture that. Looks pretty good. This bike here looks aesthetically pleasing. I might have butchered that word up a bit. So I have to get kind of low here. The monitor pops out, so I can see what I'm looking at, basically.
Well, that's like the good thing, because
there we go. just ignoring the tag that they put on the monitor, or on the bike rather. Ignoring the tag they put on the bike because I'm not supposed to park it here. I'm going to try to get more background motion in this shot here. Like a car passing. The screen's bright enough for me to see, and that's actually something that I've always had trouble with. Especially when I wear, I wear glasses, right? So because of that, stuff reflects a lot. Although looking at it right now, because the sun's bouncing off of my face and then onto here, I do see my face in the monitor. But it is bright enough, and you can control the monitor brightness from the menu.
How about the flip out or the articulated? Which one do you prefer?
Depends on what I'm shooting, right? Mm-hmm. So, like for what I was just shooting here, having it out like this is perfect. But, when it's like this, if it's like at eye level, having it inside, kind of minimizing the amount of space, the width of the camera, I guess you could say, minimizing that helps out a lot. It's one of those things where it's like photographer's choice, right? Whatever the photographer would prefer. But I would have preferred it to kind of be able to flip out like this too. But it doesn't have that ability. Did you test the video functionality of this?
I haven't tried yet. I will try after.
Okay. Video-wise, this camera shoots pretty well. Stability, you might want to gimbal if you're really moving around, but it's better than my old Nikon, I should say. But I'm walking down the street here. I mean, you can tell I'm walking in the shot, but it's enough that you can correct post. Now, I'm actually curious though. I haven't tried the walking, what I just did here, when it was in 60 frames a second. So, because it crops it in, right? But because it's cropped in, does it feel more steady? It really does, actually. So this right here, this clip is in 60 frames a second. The lens we have here, this is a Nikon 28-75 2.8, very standard Nikon lens with a 67 millimeter thread. So that's what this lens is here. I think most Nikon lenses are 67, right? I'm not sure. A lot of the Nikon lenses, they really have a lot of commonality. So I'm using auto mode now, and I actually haven't tried using it in auto mode yet. You can use, change the ISO, but everything else is automatic, as you can see. So let's see how this thing works in automatic mode. I'm going to take a picture of Thierry here. And now it's focusing on the cat of your Rode microphone here. Although you can change the autofocus in auto mode. Yeah, there we go. So it still looks pretty cool. It's still pretty functional. It's detecting your eye now. So the autofocus itself seems pretty useful. That's pretty neat. Good focus point. Yeah, there you go. Oh, that's focusing on the Taco Bell truck now. It has a bunch of different autofocus settings here. Let me pull this up.
Can you detect?
Yeah, let me see if I can grab a set picture control. Yeah, so in focus area detection, you can detect, you can have it set to basically people, animals, and vehicles. Oh, and airplanes. Well, we don't have the right lens to photograph any airplanes, nor do we have any flying over right now. So I'm going to set it to cars and see how this works. And it is immediately detecting this taxi right in front of me. And what about this Bentley? The guy doesn't mind me taking a picture of it. Yep, it's picking up the Bentley. It's trying to do its best to bokeh the back out of it, but we're pretty far away from it, so I need a much faster lens for that. But yep, So a person just walked in front of my lens as I'm photographing this pink car, and it is not picking up the people in car mode. So yeah, it's pretty good automatic autofocus detection. And yeah, actually it is. It's picking up on the people. Yep, there, it's picking up on that woman. So yeah. So the detection mode is very, very good. Although I don't really have much of a frame of reference in terms of the detection mode compared to other cameras. For consumer like myself, in terms of people buying these cameras, I like it. Instead of having a full frame lens like this on the camera, it works very, very well in reduced light. You're able to really get some pretty pictures of flowers in a very shadowed area. There we go. If only there was some birds or bugs flying around here, that would really increase the challenge, but I'm still happy. In terms of build quality, I mean, it feels solid. It holds, like it doesn't hold that well, like I said earlier, but it feels steady. It's very controllable. Especially for photography, it's very controllable.
How about the screen? Does it like move around, wiggle, or it's pretty solid when you extend it?
Oh yeah, the screen is very solid. Like this barely moves around at all. Right? So yeah, the screen does its job. I will say that.
How about the viewfinder? Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, the viewfinder's great. I mean, normally, because I wear glasses, right, viewfinders are tough because, that gets in the way. It's hard to see. But this viewfinder is perfect. The screen is bright. It's accurate. The cool part about street shooting in Aoyama area is a lot of nice cars. So take a picture of this BMW here. There's a Mercedes here too. Get the shot. Oh, that was fast. So as I, moved the camera up to photograph the Mercedes, it immediately put the focus on the Mercedes. That was very convenient. How about this taxi? I'll try to get a motion shot of the taxi. Oh, that didn't work. Had the frame rate a little too high. What about this out of here? It worked. I was hoping to get like motion blur, right? But it's too bright for that. We're not at the Le Mans track at midnight, so for a manual control camera like this, the dials are very important and they're very solid. They click. They do their job. They react very fast. I mean, it's instant. So, I mean, the dials are made, I don't know what they're made out of, but they're very solid material. They're not going to break. They don't feel loose at all. I mean, they click into place, and for some reason, I think at the C level here and at the 1/3 step, those lock into place. I have to do a little bit of research as to why they do that, but it's very easy to move. Good construction. Of course, the monitor assisting with the focus obviously helps out a lot. So I can tap on what I want to be in focus, which is that flower way over there, and it'll do it for me. Boom. I mean, this thing is really fun. I've said it a few times already, but it genuinely is a fun photography camera. It shoots well when it comes to video, but the autofocus in terms of subject detection, you have to be very careful about that. So people who are just starting out, especially like if you want to use a full frame camera like this for a vlog camera, I don't know if I would recommend that. but it still shoots very well in terms of video and photography, you know, obviously for photos. I mean, you know, it's not really balanced well, especially when you have a good lens. It's a bit heavy, you know, but I mean, it reacts well, it shoots very well. And in all honesty, I mean, if you're a Nikon fan and you want the controllability, I mean, this is definitely a camera for you. Well, one thing I do have to say about this camera, my finger hurts a little bit, my pinky finger, because I've been holding it like this. And, you know, a lot of photographers still instinctively hold it with one hand like this because that's just the natural, you know, how you grip it, right? And because of the weight imbalance with a large lens and a medium weight body, the gravity, you know, kind of puts a lot of emphasis on the finger. Long story short, what I'm meaning to say is it doesn't really hold that well. And as such, you know, when you're trying to really be balanced or you're running and gunning, you have to be very careful because sometimes it's gonna, you know, jiggle like this. You know, if you're filming, you're gonna see the bumps up and down and everything. I mean, the sensor itself will help minimize that, but that's one thing that they could have really improved on with this camera is the weight balance, weight distribution balance.
What do you think of the camera for video in general?
It's okay. I mean, I would use this if this was a stationary camera, like we had it on a tripod, or I wasn't moving around with it that much. But for running and gunning, you definitely want a gimbal or a stabilizer or something to, you know, keep it from moving around so much. But, you know, it shoots very well. The quality is clear. It's not as good as, you know, shooting with for a Nikon Z8 or Z9, obviously, because those have you know, higher frame rates at higher image sizes. But I mean, you know, for standard 4K, image quality is really good. So overall, this is a very fun camera, a pretty powerful photography camera, but this has got a videographer's, vlogger's screen. So if you're using it for photography, you know, just know what you're getting into basically. If you want to use a camera like this with manual controls for vlogging, and if you're a Nikon fan, of course, I would get the ZFC, which is the APS-C version of this camera. Sister camera, smaller form factor, same functionality. And, you know, if you're vlogging, you don't need a full frame sensor. Now, in terms of videography, though, this thing does lack an open gate sensor, and it only shoots 4K up to 60 frames a second. And even then, at 60 frames, it does do the crop in thing that some cameras do at 4K 60 FPS. So, you know, be aware of that. But otherwise, it does shoot pretty well. And at the price point, you know, $2,500 US for this, or for the body and a lens kit, that's a pretty good deal, though, for a photography camera. So, would I buy this? Yes, I would. But I mean, I'm buying it for, you know, the fun factor, the controllability factor, and for the photography part of it. You know, I'm used to using cameras like this, basically, in terms of my, you know, what I do already for work. But would I use this for larger scale video projects? Probably not. Just, yeah. But otherwise, that's about it, you know. I like this camera quite a lot. So thank you so much for watching Pronews, and we'll see you in the next video.